Je suis Ali, Ana Alex. My name is Alex. I am the CEO and founder of Orca Oshi Capital. Shout out to my partner Ronnie, who is BTS, and I am an electronic dance music DJ. You all are going to want to have a cocktail in hand, preferably some stiff liquor, because the information we're about to just go through, and again, ADHD, I just don't care to script any of my streams at all. I'd rather it come from my noggin. Let's jump right in. And maybe I should do one more swig for good luck, and for all of you watching on replay, etc. Mazel tov, Nastarovia. All right, let's go. So I keep hearing announcers, economists, I would say YouTubers, but I don't listen to people on YouTube. Actually, I just listen to Bloomberg. However, if I am flipping channels, I tend to see a lot of people talk about the United States dollar as the world reserve currency. And I want to tell you all who think that are simply incorrect. And I suppose I should get close to the camera, adjust it a bit. Yes, you heard me correctly. Wrong. Not based on my feelings, because remember, finance does not give about feelings. But for those who are hyperlexic and ADHD on the spectrum, such as myself, who are voracious readers, you will find on the IMF website the world reserve currencies. We now have 5 identifying as one. Are you ready? Let's go. We now have the US as of March 2022. The dollar is not the only world reserve currency. That's right, folks. You heard it here first. So make sure to spam this, stream this, and please start correcting anybody who talks about the dollar losing the world reserve currency status. Spoiler alert, it has. We have with us now the USD, the sterling pound of the UK. We have the euro, which I would conjure signifies the European Union. The Japanese yen, irony, Japan holds the largest debt per nation. And most importantly, the Chinese yuan. Now, what I said and thought to myself, aside from oh fuck, and oh mon Dieu, non ne père ne fils ne Saint-Esprit pour les gens dans l'Amérique and the world, is I see these are more than likely going to be the central bank digital currencies in relation to competition. Because as many of you know, of course, since everyone reads government websites, you all would have seen the executive order the American president put out. IMF is not happy with American policymakers. I suggest you all go and read the reason as to why the US dollar is no longer considered the world reserve currency and we have alternatives. So now we have 5 currencies identifying as one. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Perhaps a central bank digital currency race? I find it very problematic. Americans are so clueless and so incorrect. The IMF right now would rather have the bossy Queen of England, who I believe genuinely is nearing 100 years old, and Japan, brilliant, innovative, but the highest debt country, over the US dollar. Yikes. Let's keep going. Mortgage rates almost hit 5%. Why the hell does that matter? Well, Fed Reserve, hold me again accountable for my projections and predictions, because I don't want to be someone spreading any type of misinformation. And I personally think the future face of female finance, or finance, should be female and should be dressed accordingly. However, in 2008, when the crisis occurred, interest rates were at 6.03% on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Right now, they are sitting at 4.7%, and the Fed has not hiked. Being May is coming, I believe the Federal Reserve will probably hike 0.5. However, is our Fed in control anymore? The IMF says no. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, umbrellas under the United Nations, I have some choice words which I will keep to myself. They say no. They, in fact, blame US policymakers, not from the past, might I add, present day, for why the US dollar is not the world reserve currency. So, what the hell does that mean? Aside from credit, borrowing, getting more expensive, it means we're all living a lie for anyone who talks about trying to preserve it when we have five currencies identifying as one. We have a housing crisis coming soon. We already have seen some mortgage-backed securities, specifically commercial mortgage-backed securities, where Blackstone walked away from a building in New York City this past week, 2 weeks. And we're going to see, personally, in my opinion, another Big Short 2.0, except it's going to be very interesting how the equity funds play out. However, instead of mortgage-backed securities or collateralized debt obligations, they renamed it. So they banned them, but they rebranded. So they banned and rebrand. They're now called bespoke. Let me get very close. Bespoke tranche opportunities. Yeah, bespoke tranche opportunities. The foreclosure rate has gone up sevenfold since last month, which I have spoken about, being inventories about to flood the real estate market, allowing people to have more options of what they'd like to purchase. And not to mention, the average home right now is about 500,000. Average American salary is about 34,000. We lost only 107,000 people filing first-time jobless claims last week. Steve Jobs to no jobs. We are really heading down a path of failure. Meanwhile, China seems to be kicking ass and taking names. Many institutions are concerned about Russian assets in the form of pension funds. However, what are they doing? Are they investing in American goods? Granted, I don't know what America makes right now. However, of course not. They're going right to China. What an existential threat. Let me remind you all, Evergrande, Fantasia, Cynic, etc. The Chinese property market, 28% GDP of China, collapsed conveniently. Russia did pay some of its dollars back. Oh, yeah. And Evergrande said that, nay. They're not going to be paying the dollars back. And in fact, the Chinese bank intercepted some of their money. So I'm not really sure how that works, but I can pretty much guarantee you the modern day Mao will not be having any dollars paid back to foreign offshore investors. So if you are with UBS, I just would like to say my thoughts and prayers go out to you, being that UBS held Russian debt and Evergrande in their portfolios. Russia paid 112 million. JP Morgan says it owes somewhere in the, I want to say billions. I could be wrong, maybe 445 more million, billion. At this point, who's counting, right? Because the dollar's already devalued. We have five currencies acting as one. And in my opinion, this is the true reason, no matter what, Jerome Powell, who I have criticized heavily, gosh, I would love to take that man's job and do something, because a central bank digital currency is just fiat currency, cash money turning digital. However, they made such policy error. Read the IMF website. Don't take my word for it. But you know it's bad when the UN is propping up the China yuan, because America can't even build a road. Therefore, how do we expect to build digital currencies? So with the housing costs being the average of 500,000, the cost has to go down, especially with foreclosures now being the mortgage forbearance periods have ended. All of the stimulation from the government seems to have ended. Quantitative tightening, keep an eye out for that. The Fed shrinking the balance sheet is going to be interesting. So Many of you might have seen the movie The Big Short. I don't watch cinema. I did suck it up and watch that. And as a contrarian, Michael Burry is a hero of mine. And he found many of the mortgages to be shit because he read. And I will say again, our Fed Reserve bought Walmart debt to mortgage backed securities, to treasuries. So the balance sheet acquiring of things, if you will, they have to sell those. Who is going to buy mortgage backed securities from the Federal Reserve or treasuries when people are dumping dollars? Like no other. People do not want their money to be sanctioned. And if we get to the point where my channel gets enough clicks, I will be the first one as a certified lobbyist to start demanding sanctions be damned, because our dollar and our purchasing power is going to go to shit. We have a modern day Mao as the leader of China, period. We have the largest trade deficit we've ever had. We have 30, let's say, trillion dollars in government spending debt, highest corporate debt, highest personal debt. And we're now hiking interest rates when a housing crisis and a currency crisis and a pension crisis. Oh, this should be interesting, right? I wonder what the stock market's going to do when everyone's going bankrupt. Because what happens when we all wake up one day in the near future, not saying it would happen tomorrow. However, I conjure we'll wake up one day and see our dollar is collapsing. And what happens when the billionaires are worth $100,000 in the exchange from the yuan to the dollar? What happens to that billionaire store, such as, I don't know, let's say Walmart? This could not be any worse, in my personal opinion. I mean, America, we are so overtly distracted. It's disgusting. And I am not special in any way, shape, or form. I have 24 hours in a day, no different than anyone else, but I've chosen to spend my time reading, researching, analyzing, predicting, and stockpiling things I find to be of some sort of worth instead of doing makeup tutorials. I'm not very good at makeup anyway. However, a skill set is going to be needed. We are about to hit, in my personal humble opinion, the worst global depression and currency crisis we've ever seen. Central bank digital currencies are going to be very insidious by nature, being the federal government will be able to spy on people essentially. Yikes. However, there is hope. My fund Orca is committed to making sure equitable access for financial opportunities for everyone does exist. So the day everyone wakes up or believes they will wake up and see the dollar losing purchasing power, will be able to, I can't speak any more on this because of a non-disclosure agreement as a CEO. Again, shout out to Ronnie and my developer Prajan, who's extraordinary. If any of you are developers, engineers, work in marketing maybe, but developers, engineers, API, GPU, CPU, centralized processing unit, graphic processing unit, application program interface, Postman, GitHub, any of you, please, please, please reach out to me, tweet me, Instagram me, email me. We need you. My fund needs you. And moreover, you will be protected because under my fund, Orca, I have a union to protect programmers, developers, all things STEM and software. Therefore, a lot of opportunity, and as an ethical CEO who wants to create equitable opportunity for everyone without an account minimum, such as, I don't know, let's just talk about MetaMask and the wallet and how you have to have $50 in your bank account linked. Blockchain technology, by the way, you all, does not require a bank. If it requires a bank, more than likely it is not inherently blockchain, being that blockchain's peer-to-peer transaction without the third party. So if you see something immediately requiring a bank, I call bullshit. So I'm going to just leave it there today. I want you all to seriously think about the ramifications about what happens now. We've lost the world reserve currency according to the International Monetary Fund. So what happens now? take another drink to this. Is there anything else that anyone in the C-section has to say? uh, and with the dog barking, that is my cue to leave. I love you all. Ana habak, je t'aime, te amo, be